Yeah, technical difficulties. What can we say? See, it's good to have people watching because then I would have never known. We would have done this whole podcast and no sound of the video.
That would have been funny.
Like I had to edit it and add the sound. That's what we used to do with my last podcast. Is we would record everything to my GoPro, and I couldn't connect the sound the right way. And then after I would edit it, I would have to like have cues to add the audio from the podcast to it to do the video.
Jesus.
It was a nightmare. So when I got these, I was like, that's going to be so much better. Everything's,
I've talked about like to all my buddies like, hey man, let's do a podcast one day. But dude, I even tried making like a rap album one time when I was like during COVID.
Nice.
And I was like, this is too much. I cannot do the audio and all the video stuff. Like if you look at my videos on Instagram, it's just literally I find a funny sound and they're always out of angle.
Like, you're like, right here.
Yeah.
No. All right.
But no.
Yeah, it's like I said, I've had all this equipment for a long time. I've had a couple podcasts. It's been like an adventure, but now it's getting into all this and doing live and live weekly news and everything. It's a lot of work. Like,
no, it's awesome that you're doing that because I mean, most of the time people just hear shit on Facebook.
Yeah.
And when I get hit up and they're like, "Hey man, how do I get involved in this?" I'm like, "Do you have a Facebook?" And
Yeah.
if they're under the age of like 35, they're like, "No, I don't have a Facebook anymore."
Yeah.
Because we all posted stupid crap
Yeah.
on Facebook at like teenagers, and we're like, "All right, I don't want this anymore."
Yep. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't mess with Facebook hardly at all. Everything's Instagram based,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, the really younger generation's like, oh, get on TikTok, get on Snap, and I'm like, I don't have time for all that. Like,
All right, so apparently Snap isn't even a thing anymore.
Really?
It's Be Real.
oh,
think.
really?
Yeah, like that's the new Snapchat, and I got made fun of for still using Snapchat. So,
Whatever.
like, I guess that's the Gen Z versus like millennials versus Gen X, all of the above. So,
Well, that's awesome. Well, I want to welcome everybody to our very first episode of Had the Height podcast, and I'm going to let this man right here introduce himself.
crap. Yeah. So my name is Christian McClellan. I go by most of the time just say Chris McLifton because I think it's funny. I love Superbad and Seth Rogen. So. Yeah, I throw rocks. That's like what I do. I started throwing like 3 years ago. I never threw anything other than people because I wrestled. And so I started the sport. It's fucking amazing. I love it. It's super fun. You get to go to so many places once you start throwing rocks well, which I think is amazing. Like, yeah, like most of the time you do have to fund it, but I never thought I'd ever be able to throw at the Arnold or any of these other places just throwing rocks. So
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember when you and Chase, it was probably, I think it was y'all's first game.
Yeah.
And y'all showed up, and we had such a great time, and dude, y'all were just two big dudes just ready to throw some stuff, and I was like, these guys, they're gonna get serious about this one day, and now I see both of y'all are just crushing it out there. And
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome, man.
It's super funny because like I think my first games was actually in Decatur. It was the Texas Scots Fest, and that used to be also pro games back in the day.
Yeah.
And that's where I first saw like a pro. Like I saw Hayden, and before then I trained with like Alyssa and Ted, and honestly just used to throw cement bricks in my backyard with a chain on it to like kind of understand how to do it because
Right.
I honestly didn't know what the fuck I was
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
I mean, I still say I don't. If you ask me about technique, I'm just like, maybe with wob I can help you, but everything else I'm just like I don't think. It's like that meme where it's like Nicolas Cage and that other guy and they're singing that song like I'm dreaming. Like nothing's going on in my head, but yeah.
Right.
That was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Yeah, I can't remember what game it was that we met, but I know I had already been in the sport. I've been in the sport almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Jesus.
I know. I got started.
I keep hearing that.
I got started in 2015, and it was like, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything. I literally was doing the same thing. I'd always seen the games back in the day, and I was trying to get my dad to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you got to do it. You got to do it. Like, you're going to be great at this. He's a big guy. He's bigger than me. And I was like, you're going to be perfect for this. And he would never buckle down and do it. I'd always tell my friends, look, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And everybody made fun. You're never going to do it. You're going to be out there in a skirt and this. I'm like, all right. And then one day I just say, you know what, I'm done. Like, I'm going to do it. And I went out there and I threw. Every big name was out there.
Yeah.
Spencer Tyler was my judge.
Jesus.
Mike Dickens. I was throwing with Mike Dickens, Josh Roslin, all those guys. Jason Spraggins out there. I mean, it was a lot of big people, you know. It was like, okay, this is what the sport is. And San Antonio Games was so then. And now, you know, it's taken over. You know, Bull runs it now. You know, it's not Ed Costner, you know, retired from doing that part, the AD part. So it's like a whole new games and stuff like that. But it's come a long way. But I had no idea what I was going to get into. I was.
Well, and it comes a long way because athletes want it to grow. Like, I think it's like you have like some people who are like, you know what, I'm just a thrower. And then you have the people who are like, well, I'm a thrower. I enjoy this. Let's put on some games and try to make it better. Because like if nobody knows about the sport and nobody gets involved and volunteers and tries to help out, then like it's not going to go anywhere. So I think when you're one of the top athletes, you should get involved way more. You start appreciating the athletic directors on a whole nother like sphere. You're like, oh crap, you're literally doing this. You're literally trying to at least break even. Yeah. And it's just to bring enjoyment to other people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the funny thing is like I always tell people, they're like, oh, so you get paid for this? I'm like, no, I pay to do this. Or you pay to beat the hell out of yourself. Like, yeah,
because fuck golf. I mean, like no offense to golf, but it's like I've tried it, and you know, it's like I feel fine, and like no, like you got. I mean, it's if people ever say that, I'm just like, well, how much money do you spend just going out, or how much money do you spend just, you know, like golfing? I'm gonna bash golfing again. Like it's expensive as hell to golf, and you don't even get the chance to be sponsored because there's so many elite athletes in golf, and it's like a whole nother level of just like technical skills versus like, hey, this is technical skills, but it's like niche. So it's a lot more opening. And like, you know, I also like try to think, hey, let's get even track stars and stuff like that involved. And, you know, I'm a huge advocator of just start doing it and then get involved with it. And if you want to change something, like you gotta just do it yourself.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's exactly why I'm doing this. You know, everybody's like, you're really like going for this. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, this is an opportunity. There's more media right now for the Highland Games than there ever has right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, between, you know, Kyle Lilly just started his podcast, you know, the Iron Palace. I mean, there's a lot of people that are doing stuff.
You know, don't forget Christian McClellan breaking 2 Guinness World Records.
I mean, it's just, you know, 2 world records, you know, Guinness World Records.
I'm still waiting for approval. Like, shout out Jack. But but like that's athletes getting involved and being like, yeah, I want to fucking do this.
You know, I am upset with you about that though.
Oh yeah.
We have a broadcasting company. We could have made this a major broadcasting.
Dude, I had my dainty brutes come in. I had my buddies. I didn't even think about that. I mean, like now I know too, like, oh crap, I could have done that. But I'm definitely going to do it again. I didn't break the Sheaf World Record. I really want to. And, actually, some people from Ireland started reaching out, and Australia was like, hey, when do you want to come out here and attempt this? Because we have a world record championships. And they're like, most people get like 50 feet. Yeah. And I got like 56, 57. Like I was like right up there at the cusp of it. And that was after me doing like 3 different events.
Oh, wow.
And to be honest with you, I should have trained more. I didn't train. I probably trained for it like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, wow.
And as soon as I was like, okay, I got this. And shout out to Eric Frazier for actually like really helping me figure out something with sheaf. I don't know if I can utilize it with a heavy sheaf because I tried and didn't really work that well, but it worked like crazy for the 8-pound sheaf.
Oh, wow.
It's just like relaxing your neck and like just like flowing with it. Yeah. And I think that applies to every single throw.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some type of fluid that goes into like everything that you're doing. You know, everybody has like this concept in the gym that you have to be stiff and you want to be perfect and you want to pull and you want to push and you want to be, and you know, and it's like that's not how your body bends every day. You know, like you're using everything and you're doing this and you're pulling at a funky ankle and you're doing, you know, and I think that's important for like functional workouts for you to do stuff where you're really breaking into different body parts that you wouldn't break into. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just like me getting I finally got my hips worked on and God, Jesus Christ, talk about it just being crunchy. It was just like I was probably I laugh when I'm in like an immense amount of pain. I was laughing so much I wanted to cry.
Oh wow!
And she was just killing me. You know, like her name's Amy, and she's 6 foot something, and she puts in her entire body weight into you, and it's just the worst feeling ever.
You're like, it hurts so good.
It doesn't even hurt good. I know it's good for me, but like, God, like I didn't know it was not normal to feel like you have a PVC pipe in your I guess groin area or whatever. I thought that was normal.
You're way too young for that.
Dude, I've had 2 torn ACL.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've had three torn rotators, 2 surgeries, and you know the first one was a partial, so I know exactly how it is. And when I had my second one, I could only pick my arm up, you know, this high off the ground, and it was miserable. So when I tore it again, I was like, oh yay, that's what I needed, because now I can pick my head all the way behind my shoulder. So
well, like yeah, I can imagine a shoulder injury that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like I've heard like you can't even put on your shirt. You can't put on your shirt.
You can't do anything.
You can't do anything. Like knees, I'm like, all right, I can still kind of wobble.
Yeah.
I can tape it up, but you can't really tape your shoulder to start working again.
Every time I tore my shoulder, I had to sleep sitting up for like
worst.
months at a time, and you know how miserable that is.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
and it's
that's
just like
god-awful.
you can't put your head back, you can't lay because you can't breathe because there's so much pain in there. It's a total nightmare.
Yeah.
So what 2 world records did you break?
So that was the keg for height and the keg for distance.
And what were the heights?
I got 17 because I didn't want to go higher because I was like,
Yeah.
you know, I already got it. I need to like store energy. And the distance for the keg, I think, was almost 60 feet.
And what's the weight on the keg?
27 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's here like, yeah, that's a pretty, like, a lot of athletes probably could have done that. But, like, the thing is like, you know, you have to, like, do so much bureaucracy with the Guinness World Record.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm still figuring out the paperwork to get it approved. And there's a chance that they'll be like, oh, no, like, we didn't get this one angle of, like, you know, your quads completely flexing while you threw it. You got to do it again. So, yeah, it was a lot. It was, and then planning the event itself was actually the stress. Like doing the actual thing wasn't stressful.
Right.
It was the putting everything together.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
Everything, like making sure everything's packed and ready to go.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a total, and that like I wasn't stressed about today, but it's been a while since I've had everything set up. And, you know, once I got here and I had all the problems, and it was just like, I don't need this right now. Like, just go together for me. And that's one stress that I really have about doing this, is because I basically do everything by myself or with my wife, you know, and she, you know, she backs me so much on this. Like the reason we're here right now is because of her, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like her and her aunt, Terry Lively, shout out to her.
Shout out to both.
They're both badasses. Without her, I wouldn't be able to do any of this stuff, you know? So it's like, you have to have some type of support system behind you to get this done, you know?
I mean, the amount of support, I mean, I can't thank people enough for the amount of like support I get. I mean, whether it's from my partner or my coach or just other athletes, like everybody just, I just say something and they're like, you know what? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do that, Christian. And I'm probably just there, you know, randomly sitting down, looking through to like Guinness World Records and being like, I think I can do this.
I haven't even seen a Guinness World Record book in a long time. That's kind of funny. I should go through there.
I was like, yeah, that doesn't seem too far. If the maths, like if I can throw a 16-pound sheaf 36 feet, why can't I do an 8-pound sheaf 60 feet? Obviously I didn't, but you know, there's a lot more factors, I guess.
You'll get there.
Yeah, one day.
So, any idea if you're gonna be going pro anytime soon?
Yeah, no, I am probably making my pro debut in a little bit, a lot sooner than most people, I think. But right now, just kind of like focusing on just, you know, getting hitting all the games that I really want to do as an amateur. So Oregon is the next stop, last minute I get to go to. I'm competing as a Titan, which I didn't know what that was. But apparently it's Super A's. Oh. And, you know, I've never been. There's like a caber relay. There's also, you know, like a challenge caber that if you flip, you get like $800.
Oh, wow.
I suck at caber, so I wish it was WOP.
Oh, come on. Come on. I think that caber has always been, I think like I was just scared of caber for a long time, and I was just so at it. And then it just kind of clicked one day and I learned how to do it. And I was like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this. And I got humbled really hard at San Antonio a couple seasons ago, and they pulled out their big, and I had to throw with A's. There wasn't enough B's that showed up, and they said, well, we're going to put you with A's. And I'm like, I'm not an A-class thrower. Like, I'm barely a B-class thrower. Like, and I picked up the caber and I was like, this is really heavy. And I went to go turn it and it flipped up and it came down, and I was like, oh, okay. Like 3A guys had gone, and they hadn't flipped it. So I was like, oh, I kind of feel, like I've done something. And then Mike Dickens comes up and just flips this thing like
Yeah.
everything. I'm like, okay, I hate caper.
Well, I mean, that's my issue is like I've picked up capers and they are never heavy. Like they're always like, oh,
Yeah.
this is easy.
Yeah.
And then I try to flip it and I get like a 60-degree.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck did I do wrong?
Every time I see your fails, I'm like, how did he fail that? You just throw it, and it just like goes straight up and comes down.
I'm trying to throw it up. I think it's wob. I feel like I'm doing wob, and I'm like, oh, this makes total sense. Like,
You need to stop doing snatches in the gym. You'll fix that problem.
so, yeah, no, dumbbell snatches. Those are like the best for wobs.
Yeah.
If you want to get better at weight over bar, like that crap.
Yeah, I have one of those barbell hinges I bought a few months ago, and you just put the hinge on one side, and you load it on, and that's all it is. It's just a hinge. It goes into 2 weights, and then you put the barbell in there, and you put 2 weights, and that's all I do. I do that position,
Yeah.
and the idea is because the barbell goes away from you, so you're going in that direction when you're doing it. And I think that helped a lot. Now I go to caber, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the thing. I'm going that way and not
need to do
up.
that more.
So
That's 100. That and just like actually like playing with capers.
Yeah.
I think I need to ask Jack if I can play with some capers before I go to Oregon. Like, help me pay for that trip a little bit.
when's Oregon?
It is October, and like the first weekend of October.
Oh,
and,
same weekend as Masters World Championship.
Yeah, and that's like actually why like I was able to go. But I never been to Oregon before, and I actually am a little stressed out about it because I have midterms. That Monday,
Yeah.
and the plan was like for me, I thought my midterms were on that weekend,
Oh.
and I was like, that's weird. And then I found out that it's not, and I was like, well, can I do this? Like, I'm not driving, so I can study on the plane. I can study here, and like I have a place to stay, and like there's a 2-day event, so I can just go back and forth. So yeah, I just was like, asked my partner, and she was like, fuck it, just go do it.
Yeah.
And like
yeah.
that was awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's how it was for Masters. It's like I pushed this whole last season. I went out there and I trained hard and I threw out there. The only game I lost was it High? I think it was High. I got second place, and it was just the day strung out, and it was so windy, and it was a nightmare day.
High's rough.
High's tough. It's always every year.
is
I mean,
cold.
a couple years ago, it was like trying to snow, and it was like 30 the whole day.
Oh yeah, I have these terrible videos of me in like a bright orange crew neck and wearing sweats under my kilt, and I was just like, dude, this looks god awful.
Yeah, I never put on sweats. I never put on pants. I wore my kilt and just my socks the whole day.
Oh,
I was like, I'm gonna show some manhood and be the only person out here.
I was like, hell no, I'm cold, dude. I'm gonna tear something. Like, I'm not doing that.
But yeah, no, but that was the only game that I lost, and I think I lost by like 1.5 points.
Yeah.
But every other game I completely dominated, and I worked really hard on cutting the whole season and tried to stay at that 200-pound weight, and I was like, I'm really gonna try to do something. Well, I thought the cutoff was the end of the year, so I ended up throwing 3 more games as a lightweight, and I had numbers, and I had real good numbers because that was the second half of my season. So when it came to Masters World Championship, they're like, oh, we're gonna be sending out a letter, this and that. You should be getting something. And I said, oh, make sure your cut down date is Friday. And I was like, oh, I have 3 games I can use. And those were like my big numbers. I like PR'd a couple times. And I was like, okay, cool. So I called Ted. I'm like, hey, man, you have to look at these numbers again.
Yeah.
You have to take another look. And he was like, you would have got in just with your numbers last season, but this moves you up in the rankings a little bit. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to come. I want to come in here and I want to do something,
Ted, the original Daddy Sheaf.
Yeah,
Sheaf
Sheaf Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he'll be on our weekly live news on Sunday tomorrow.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
That's awesome.
2 o'clock, 2 p.m. He'll be on our weekly live news.
Yeah, he helped me so much with Sheaf.
Yeah.
And like when I first started, I remember him saying like, "Oh man, like one day you're gonna go pro." Like just because you're strong, like, you're so explosive. And I was
Yeah.
like, it doesn't make any sense. And I was like, I don't understand it either.
Yeah.
But no, he's awesome. Yeah, that guy. I always text him when I get a PR.
Yeah. You're
I'm
like,
like-
hey, I did this.
I text him and I text Jack. I'm like, hey, Papa, like, I finally hit 17 on WOB.
I did a thing.
The thing that you guys said I could do, I did.
You were right all along. I get it.
All I had to do was listen to technique and
So let's talk about Dainty Brutes.
Dainty Brutes. Yeah, no. So right now, I'm not doing too much with it because like school's just been a crazy idea of mine to get my master's.
Yeah.
This is stupid. But Dainty Brutes, I started it because I actually started for like several reasons. Like one reason was like there was a games that I just didn't like something there, and instead of being like one of those people was like, hey, I don't like this, like, you know, I don't want to be here. I was just like, I'm gonna make my own thing. I'm gonna make my own games.
Yeah.
But it also started as like, okay, well, Nike is not knocking on our door anytime soon. So like, is there any way for me to like sell apparel and either like pay for my sponsorships and pay for my buddy sponsorships? And it just eventually morphed into me doing indoor games, which again was just like out of nowhere. I mean, I think I was throwing for about a year.
Yeah.
And I threw like with the help of Ted and a lot of other people, I was able to throw a game at FitCon.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
That was insane. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Right.
And half the time I still don't. I mean, it's like you have to do it to actually learn how to do it.
That's exactly
athletic
right.
directors, like they are, like most of the time when it's like a big festival, they get like a budget. But if you're doing things with just your own funds and just sponsorships that you can somehow do, it is hard.
Yeah.
I ended up doing a strongman comp, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to this guy and be like, hey, you have space for a Highland Games. Can I do this? And the guy was like, yeah, meet me in Austin. You can come to this convention in Austin. We'll talk again. And I drove, like, I barely knew the guy. I was like, hey, can we do this? And that became USA Fit Games. And that is like the largest, sports convention sports convention, athletic, whatever, in Texas. And I get to actually show Highland Games to like, tens of thousands of people. Like people just run through. Sometimes they're just like, what the hell are you doing? But it's still something since the Arnold isn't really going right now.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think that's really important too, is like getting a new audience. I think we've just like, I've seen the sport evolve over 10 years. Mm-hmm. Like it really has come a long way, but this is a sport that used to be on ESPN.
Yeah. I mean, why like, I don't get why is, what is that thing called with the, you're throwing it at a wooden board and they do it at bars.
The shuffleboard thing?
Yeah, it's kind of like shuffleboard board, but you're throwing like a sack.
Oh, the cornhole.
Yeah, why is I'm like, no offense to anybody who's doing cornhole, but like if cornhole is like broadcasted in bars that I like, college bars, like why isn't a dude or like a woman like throwing a massive log and flipping it not on ESPN?
Okay, I love sports. Yeah. I love all sorts of sports. I'm down for sports, anything like that. But when I started doing this, I wanted to go and see, okay, let's see how deep ESPN, the Ocho, really goes.
Yeah.
The oddball games. They have, what's that, ski hockey?
Air hockey.
Air hockey.
You're telling me they have air hockey
They have
now.
air hockey on ESPN. And I'm like, no, this isn't going to happen.
I've seen guys tear their biceps and it's not from air hockey. Like, again, no offense to air hockey people, but it's just like, dude, like what happened? And that kind of comes with investigating, like, what did we do to make us be like, okay, we're not much of a sport. I don't understand that.
And I talked to some people, and I talked to two different types of people. I talked to people who are involved in the games, and I talked to people who aren't involved with the games. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, you always say that you're out there all day. Who's going to broadcast and watch this all day? Golf is like 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And people will sit there and watch golf all day. The Olympics go on all day, and people watch the Olympics all day, and that's multiple events. Why wouldn't somebody do it for the Highland Games? And that's when I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop this right now. I'm going to corner this market. I'm going to live broadcast games. I'm going to get on the pro circuit. I'm going to do everything that I say I'm going to do, and I'm going to turn this sport into something that it should be.
Yeah.
I want to show off. I literally, when it comes out, I want to
flow sports. Like flow sports. I used to work in downtown Austin, and one of the places where actually flow sports was like the second, I think 3 floors above me, and I was like talking about it, and they're like, that sounds really cool. How do we get involved with that? Or like, can you you have to just show viewership. Yeah. And that's why I was like, all right, so Instagram. I mean, you look at like a lot of the athletes that actually post on Instagram. Like they have millions of views. Obviously, something cool is about it.
Right.
How do we do that in a way where it's like I can watch this for a couple hours?
Yeah.
So no, kudos to you for doing that, because like the camera stuff, I suck at it.
Yeah. Well, I tried to find something, a simple system that I could do, but it's not just going, setting up cameras and just throwing it out there here. Mm. like somebody has to explain to people, what are we doing? You know? And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take on the broadcasting thing, broadcast the games, record them, show people what it's doing, and get people really involved.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get, I mean, we have some like serious pros. We have like pro strong men and women who are doing this now. I mean, obviously it's going. It's only a matter of time for sponsorship starts to come. And then when sponsorship comes, obviously somebody wants to start broadcasting it. Somebody big's going to come in. And that was one thing that I'm trying to really do is get with ADs of these bigger games and get them to sign a contract with me.
Yeah.
Sign a contract with me where I will broadcast with you your games for the next 5 years, 8 years, whatever it is, and let me hold that contract. Because when this really does go, I want to be there when it happens. You know, I want to be the guy who'd be like, man, he's the one who started this, and I want to really take it off.
Yeah, you want to make your footprint. You
Exactly.
want to like show something. Yeah, no, same here.
So, you know, and it's like, oh, I'm involved with a lot of, like, I know everybody, and basically why I know everybody is because of Viking Throwers Club.
Yeah.
You know, when we started Viking Throwers Club, was the same thing like Dainty Brutes. We were just trying to make enough money to pay for our next games. And, you know, when we first started, we were making great money. I mean, I was fracking like $1,000 a month, you know.
Can you teach me
like,
how to do that?
No, because now we make like $20 a month, but I just don't invest my time into it now like I did then, you know. And it really comes down to these guys. I mean, without them, we're nothing, you know. It's all with them spreading the word, them buying apparel, them pushing apparel, you know, word of mouth. You know, you put 1,000 t-shirts on 1,000 people, 10,000 people are going to see those shirts.
No,
I mean, that's the idea of marketing. I mean, that's how it is, but you have to invest everything into it, you know.
I think my best day with Dainty Brutes, and again, like all the literally all the money goes straight back into like running the events, because like that's a lot. Like I think I ended up like losing like probably, and I don't mind saying it, I ended up losing like $3,000 last year because of like a trailer going out. Me trying to do too many events without really like double checking, like, is this a credit, like, you know, like all this stuff. But like, you know, the best day was like, yeah, we sold all of our apparel and we made like $3,000, which went straight into like fixing the trailer.
Right.
So it's like, you know, it's you know, it's hard. It's so hard.
Yeah,
and
it
you
is.
know, I think the one thing that I do like about like Dainty Brutes is it can be applied to like any athlete. You know, the whole thing is you can be dainty, you can be brute, just don't be an asshole. Like that's what that's my main catch with it. It's like there's so many things. Like for me in my head, I'm like, it's so much harder to be a jerk than it is to just be like nice. And like Highland Games, like there's not a lot of jerks.
There's not.
In comparison to other sports that I've played, there's really not. Everyone's trying to feed each other. Everyone's trying to like, hey, you should do this and help in like any way possible. Like, hey, do you need a ride to the airport? All the above. It's like, it's a really cool community when it comes to like athletics, like because everyone's just vibing.
Yeah, that's what drew me to the sport. I've been involved with sports since I was 4 years old. You know, everything. I've always played basketball or, you know, baseball, football, whatever. All the neighborhood kids always played. You know, I got into sports, but nothing was like this.
Yeah.
Nothing. You never have a sport where you're competing against this guy and you're helping him at the same time.
Oh yeah,
like, dude, you will never see that in any other sport.
Man, I was a wrestler. Like hell no. Like I was surprised when a dude came up to me. He was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." He just whooped my ass. Like I tell you, like thank you though. I mean, I appreciate it. But then I come here and like everyone's just chilling and happy, and you know that like you get made fun of a little bit, but it's all like a part of like just a fun teasing.
Yeah. If you can't sexually harass your partners on the field, then you know why are we doing this?
Yeah, I mean when I walked in my first comp, I was just like, damn. These guys are really chill. Like, I was over here, like, I came with my pink socks and sandals, and I was there just like, LOL. Like, you're wearing sandals? Are you gonna throw in those? I was like, no, maybe.
Do I need to wear regular shoes?
Like, should I feel uncomfortable? But like, no, like that. It was just that environment that I was just like, oh, this is awesome. Actually, my first comp was actually with Jesse too at and he's killing it as a pro, and my main goal, honestly, has been just like catch up to him for the most part, because I always make the joke. I was like, yeah, man, he threw for fucking 8 years, but that's just an excuse,
Right.
Like at the end of the day, like you're as good as what you need to be.
That's exactly right.
And I was just like, well, I'm not putting in the time to learn technique. I was over like the first 2 years, I was just like, I'm strong, I can do this. Nah, dude.
No, it don't matter.
like finally something clicked. It was just like, all right. if I just slow down, and I think every single person has told me slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and it finally made sense. And I was like, if I just slow down, I throw it way further.
Oh yeah.
And I don't hurt.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But no, like that's.
Yeah. Well, I threw Decatur my first season, and I went from San Antonio to Decatur, and it was like whatever 3 months apart or something like that, and I wasn't good, but from 3 months of just pounding it out, and Sheaf was, everybody knows my Sheaf is my thing. It's always been my thing. I love Sheaf. I love throwing Sheaf, but I was like, I need to do this because my first games I couldn't get it off the fork, and I was like, no, fuck you, watch me, and I just practice.
The thing about Sheaf, you can't even explain how to do it.
No,
I have no idea how I throw Sheaf.
I don't either. I can't even explain. And like
the Nike check mark, I try to envision that, and every time I look at the video, I was like, that wasn't a check mark.
You know what?
That was a smiley face.
I will give a shout out to Kyle Lilly, and I'll give a shout out to Zach Church. Me and Zach go way back. We've been throwing for years and years together. We actually work together now. And
the one man that makes me feel safe when I'm getting held.
Yes. Yeah. I don't care how big you are. When he holds you,
you're so safe and you're so warm. Like, it's the best. But yeah.
Yeah. He said, yeah, you're not you're just pulling.
Yeah.
You're just pulling. You're not pushing. You're not checking at anything. And I went back and I watched like 100 videos. Check. And I'm like, yeah, every time just pulling with my left. And I'm still, I'm up there 26, 28, I'm 31 is my PER. And so, I can throw it, but dude, I could probably be at 36 or 38 if I would apply the proper technique.
Yeah.
So that shout out to Kyle Lilly is he has a video where he's throwing the 20-pound sheaf, and it's like 20 something feet up in the air, 28 feet in there, whatever it is. And it is the perfect example of how you should throw sheaf. Like the way that he does it, it's just like the perfect video and shows you how to, and I'll share it with you. But after that, I was like, oh, that's how you do it. I've been doing this sport for 10 years and I don't know how to throw sheaf.
Yeah, no. Now watching those guys, like I got to see them throw the past 2 weekends, and it's just like a whole nother like level of just athleticism. Like, Kyle Lilly's a freaking massive dude.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like a Ninja Turtle. It's
Exactly.
awesome. And it's like the way he spins is like super graceful, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like I'm over here struggling with one turn, I might probably stay with a one turn for like as long as I can.
Yeah.
Because 2 turns makes me dizzy.
Spencer Tyler told us we did an event together. It was like a whatever you call it, an instructional day. Have athletes came out, and he came to town, and we knocked it out. And he said, you can't start 2 turning until you can throw 1 turn as far as your 2 turn right now. And I was like, oh. He's like, learn how, throw 2 turn and see how far you can throw it. And when you can 1 turn and throw it that far, that's when you can start throwing 2 turns.
See, I was told, do not start 2 turning until you can reach 70, 75. And I've been living that because I hit 73 last week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I can do 75, and then I'll probably start. And watch me be like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to do 80 with 1 turn.
I actually PR'd 60 feet, 8 inches, probably about a month ago. And I was like so impressed with myself. I was like,
60 is a big number. It's it's one of because like a lot of people hit 50.
Yeah.
And then 40, you just start now.
Yeah.
Because I think my first throw ever was like 48.
Yeah.
But 50 is like 60 is like that big, all right, I'm getting there. And then when you hit 7, you're like, all right, dude.
I always thought 40 was a big number because I always hung out in that 38, 39. And then I like crushed 40, and then I got up to like 45, and I was like, ooh.
The momentum starts hitting.
Yeah. And I'm like, ooh. And I start watching stuff. And just this past maybe like few months, I actually started like working because I would throw and I'd always end up way far out the box on this side.
Yeah.
And so I just adjusted it where I'm bringing the weight up higher over my head when I'm coming around, and it straightens me out. And now I can get that thing out there. I'm like, oh, that's how you do this. Like, it's like all this last 6 months is just learning like how to throw the right way. And that's what I've really focused on. So
yeah, no, 100%. But, and again, like I'm trying to think how I throw, and I'm like, I think the biggest change was honestly turning my body to the left, like actually turning your torso. I don't know if you probably do that, but I didn't used to turn my torso.
Oh, really?
I used to just like not look, and I'm trying to look now. Trying to look behind me and basically hit the weight to the ground and then get that weird orbit. And then,
Right.
But I still throw it like I'm throwing a right hook, which is I need to work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, video, dude.
Yeah.
Watch your video.
Yeah.
Watch your game tape, dude.
I try. I'm just like, how do I not do that? It's like the same thing with like open stone. Like I feel like I suck at open stone.
Right.
And it's because I disconnect my neck from the stone. And I'm like, all right, how do I keep my head on the stone? I have no idea how.
Jack hasn't taught you how to.
He's taught me like 1,000 times. He's told me 1,000 times, you're doing it. Stop fucking doing it. I'm like, dude, I've even like told myself, like, don't look. And I still look. And I think my PR right now for the year is like 43, which no bueno.
Oh, yeah, we were just talking about Zach, and he's on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
What's up, Zachy?
Hey, Zach.
Yeah, it's stones was always it's Braemar and open have been my kryptonite since I started throwing. I don't have a big chest. I don't have a big bench press. I've never been strong in that area. And I was like, I'm just going to have to learn how to spin and just learn how to do this thing. And that's all I've been focusing on is just stone, just trying to get into that. Actually, Zach's wife.
Yeah.
Emily Humphreys Church. She's my online coach, and I send her video all the time for her to analyze and stuff like that. And she's like, no, you're doing this wrong. You're putting your foot wrong. You're putting it, and then every time. And I'm really good about adjusting myself. Like I'm really good at learning and taking the criticism the right way and adjusting the way I need to. So it was really important. Like when she says, no, you're turning them too much. Stop your foot and stop doing that. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, and I'll stop doing that. And that's the only reason why I can do any sort of type of stones right now. What I miss? Nothing. We were just talking about how great and cuddly you are, Zach.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We were just saying, like, every time you give us a hug, how safe we feel.
I feel so damn safe and warm. Very warm.
That's what my wife is saying too. She's like, they were talking about how safe you make them. He makes everybody safe. It's awesome.
He's a big guy. He's a big guy in a league of big guys.
Yeah, like, and you know what? As big as Zach is, because he's just a large man.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot.
His hands?
Yeah.
His hands are just like
this is
like boxing gloves.
He can stick his whole hand underneath his feet. He can bend over. That's how flexible he is.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Awesome. Zachy, you're a great individual. We love you.
Yeah, you are.
So yeah, it's well, you were at Pleasanton.
Yeah.
And you threw amateur?
Through AMS. It was amazing, guys. Like I met AJ and Sean Burns was there, and Eric Frazier, who has been throwing since he was like 14 years old.
Yeah.
He made a comeback, and I got fourth. I was happy with my fourth because these guys were just 100%. They were better than me. They were just. There was no like, oh, it's just bullshit. Like no, like I got beat, and I love getting beat.
Right.
Like it's like the best feeling for me because it's like. I can't make an excuse. Like you're better than me.
Right.
100%.
Right.
But no, it was great. It was a great competition. I got a couple PRs, which made me feel super happy. I fouled a 37 heavy, which basically was like, you have it in the tank. You just got to get it.
Right.
Probably one of the best games I've been to, honestly. Next to, I really loved Estes too. Estes was amazing. He says, hey, Churchy.
Yeah, I haven't done any major games. I've always wanted to do Sterling.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do, there's a bunch of games. I know
that's a fun one too.
That one in Colorado, everybody just got back.
Estes, yeah.
Estes, yeah, everybody's talking about that. I saw everybody from Texas.
Yeah.
I was like, man, everybody showed up. Like, that's awesome.
I didn't know when I got there, everyone was there. And I was like, wait, you guys went? Yeah. I was like, I had no idea because it was, again, like a last-minute games. I was just like, all right, I think I can do this. I think I have, like, enough money in my piggy bank to do it and all the above. And, the flights were actually cheap.
Right.
And so I took it as, like, a mini vacay for me and my partner. And it wasn't. It was not.
Yeah.
I had to work and do homework the entire time and listen to Matthew McConaughey's Green Light in Colorado, which was awesome. But it was just and then adjusting to the air was really rough.
Oh, I imagine.
Yeah, we got there Thursday, so it was really good. And we were just exhausted, dude. Like going up, and but that was I got PRs there too. I got great PRs.
It's just because there's less air and the weight throw goes
it didn't
higher.
tell the stones didn't work that way, dude. The stones are just no. Like my hammers definitely flew, but that was the first time I used my murder cleats that I made the day before we flew there, because I'm actually gonna go pick up my boots right now after this, because I left my boots in Chase's bag when we got back from Pleasanton. So I'd never used it, but like, again, something clicked, dude. Like something just actually, no, it was Steven Laser. If you know Steven Laser, the dude looks like Jason Momoa. Dude's like the most beautiful man I've ever seen in the Highland Games. Like legit, if there was like a beauty pageant for Highland Games athlete,
first place, no matter what. Yeah.
There's no competition. But the guy, he basically was like, yeah, dude, you're not looking up. You're not looking up when you throw. And he kind of showed me how to do it with a spoon, and I was like, okay, this makes sense. And I started doing water aerobics, and that really helped too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna be a pro. I gotta start doing water aerobics.
Yeah, you got to start doing some stuff you would never expect to do.
No, and it helps like crazy, because you start, being able to bend your back in a way because you're in the water already. Yeah. So you're not scared.
Yeah, I started doing yoga again. I got back into yoga 6-8 months ago, something like that, just to start working on my body, because I'm 40 now. I'm not a kid. I can't just go out there and just, oh, hey, I'm going to go throw for fucking 9 hours and no, I'm going to be okay. Oh, no, it's nothing like that. I need an hour before games to, limber up and open up and do all that stuff. I bring my yoga mat with me everywhere, because that's just the way it is. But I can just imagine going pro and the stuff that you have to do to compete for that, because, these guys, especially, I'm not a collegiate thrower. I wasn't a high school thrower. I have no track field. I have track because I ran, but I don't have any field experience whatsoever. Yeah. I literally got into the sport and was like, oh, I'm just going to throw fucking stones and I'm going to go. Yeah. So I can only imagine the stuff that you're going to have to do just going into being a pro. So.
I'm going to be honest with you. It's like, when I hear that they have throwing experience, it just makes me want to work even harder. Yeah. Like, I don't know, it's just like something makes if you're telling me like, okay, there's no way for me to win, I'm like, okay, now I really want to win. Yeah. Like that, I think that mindset's going to change really once I start throwing with these guys, because a lot of them are collegiate throwers. Like, they threw at some point in their life, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, I just was like, chilling in my bed one day after COVID and watched a documentary. I was like, I want to throw. I can do that. I was watching the heavies. I was like, I can do that.
I can do that. Yeah, that's easy.
Totally.
I'm strong. I go to the gym every day. I can do that.
Oh my God. And I think then I was like, I was skinny then. I was like 260 or something, or 265. I say skinny, but like he was that Christian was itty bitty in comparison. Like, I can't recognize. Like, I think I've gained what is that, like 50 plus pounds since starting the sport. A lot of it's good, some of it's bad. It's okay. I like cookies and cake, so it works.
Oh, I do too. Yeah. I got into the sport. I was 235. Yeah. I got up to 50 pounds. I got up to 285, and I was like, oh, I can actually start to do something with this. I can move the 56 pretty good, and I was like, oh. When you have weight on you, it's a lot simpler.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I cut the weight to go down to 200, go to lightweight, I was like, oh, no, I have to learn this all again.
It's all, and I think the lightest I'll ever want to be is like 280. I think 280 is like me being like feeling fit.
Yeah, but you're what, 6'4",
6'5"? 6'5", yeah, 6'5". Yeah. But there's no reason. I think the heaviest I've gotten to in the sport was 330. I was like, oh, wow. Good. Yeah. I think I'm good on that. Like, that did not feel good.
Chafing a little much.
I'm chafing now, man. Like, my thighs are like the size of most people's waists at this point. It's just like the worst.
I'm 210 and I chafe everywhere, dude. I hate it, because I don't have big legs here, but I got big giant legs up here. Oh, man, that's a nightmare, dude.
It's not a vibe, especially in the skirts.
Yeah, I actually got on this stuff. It's like a runner stick. Yeah, and it's called chafe chalk or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I kill my legs with it right there, man. It saves my life, dude. The only place I know that you can buy it is HEB.
So fun fact, during a comp I was chafing really bad, and all I had was BioFreeze, and in my head I was like, all right, this might help a little bit. And I put BioFreeze where I'm chafing, and it did help. I PR'd, but I think it was because of the amount of pain I was in.
You're like, I gotta get away.
It was right before hammers. I was just like, why am I doing this to myself?
Yes, I moved the pink pillows. I didn't want them here anymore. I didn't want to get them dirty. We're big sweaty men, so I didn't want to sweaty those up. So
I'm already sweating.
I've been sweating. I cranked the AC down to like 71 too. So. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be cool off real good. I'm like, no, I'm still hot.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's miserable. So what's on the agenda for Dainty Brutes?
So I am not adding anything until January. January is like when I can start doing some more stuff, just because I'm taking 15 credits in school, which I thought was a great idea.
Yeah, fantastic.
But you know, there's a chance that we can be able to host like 3 indoor games.
Wow.
One in Arizona, Dallas, and Florida. And I don't know if I have the manpower to do that, but I mean, I didn't know I had the manpower to do my first game. So, I mean, if I can do it, I'm going to do it. And if I can't, I'm probably still going to try. So,
well, if you need some help, you can reach out to your buddy Rooster and we can try to work on some stuff.
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, like the people who let me host it are so amazing. Like they literally help in every aspect of hosting the games. And initially, like, I really wanted to be able to go back into the Arnold, and I don't know if I see that happening.
Yeah.
So why not try the Olympia? Like, why not try like another big sports festival to like host? Like, even if it's like a small, like, they just let us do WOP.
Yeah.
Let us just do WOP.
Just WOP. Just a bunch of guys throwing WOP.
You know, just a bunch of people just throwing stuff just for a little bit. And
it's kind of like a Sherwood. You know, they just go out there and they just fuck off and they, throw some stuff and they do it for tips. It's have you done that?
I do. So that's actually at the Houston Ren Fair, and I've done it for the past 3 years.
I know Zach and him do it, and they try to do it every year too.
No, I go and I take my shirt off and I have my stomach hair shaped as abs, and it's super funny or super creepy. I don't know. So I actually last year was really weird because I did it again. And people kept giving me blue ribbons, and I didn't know what that meant. And apparently that's like a song where like they tied a blue ribbon around a dude who's wearing a kilt that fell asleep. So, yeah, I was just like, that's I'd rather a 20.
Are we raping?
I was just like, I'd rather like a $20 tip because like that. Like, what am I gonna do with a blue ribbon?
Yeah.
But no, it's super sweet.
That's awesome.
But they're super fun. Like they're, it's a super cool way to be in front of a crowd and actually like start to work on your crowd work. But I feel like I need to get more involved while I'm doing the actual games, like going to Pleasant to like get involved with the crowd. But like I'm like so focused sometimes.
And I think it's harder when you're a pro than when you're an AM because. When I'm doing it, I'm all about it. Like, I'm about the crowd, I want to go there and talk to people and stuff like that. And then it's like when it gets down to like crunch time, I'm just like, all right, shut the fuck up, I'm busy, like, and it's you have to. There's a fine line on when you can fool around and when you can't, Yeah, that's the B class guys. That's why I love the B class because that's all we did. We would just fuck off with each other and then mess with the crowd, and everybody had a good time. Mm-hmm. And when you start moving up into divisions or you're trying to go for actually do something. It's a little bit tougher to do that.
I didn't get the. I think I was in 1B class one time, and I think it was my second games, and like it was super fun. I had the best time ever, and I was like, damn. So like once you win, like it was like a rule, like once you win a B class, you have to go to an A's, and they push you. And I was like,
it's supposed to be 2 technically.
2.
You have to win 2. You have to win 2 class wins for you to move up to the next class.
Okay, I might have broken the rule then because
it might have been it changed a few years back, so it might have at that time it might have still been 1, but forever. I mean, 1 can be a fluke. Yeah, because like I had this talk with John Allison because we used to throw together all the time. He won Houston. They're like, oh, you'll be an A now, and he's like, dude, I threw against 2 other guys, and neither one of them had thrown before. So I think it's it's a technical thing where it's probably need to win 2 to get to your next class.
That's fair. I think I was dumb. I just started and I did 3 games in a row. Oh, wow. And I didn't even know. So I think I reached out and I told them my numbers for my last games. They're like, yeah, we're putting you in A's. I was like, crap.
Yeah.
And get my ass whooped.
I think an AD can make a decision too on he can look at you and be like, oh no, you're too good for this division. You need to, get on to the next one, and that. Because I've had some C guys just go. I had this dude used to come to the San Antonio practice all the time. And he was a collegiate thrower, really good. Yeah. And he came through, and they put him in C's in San Antonio, and he kicked the shit out of everybody. I mean, I'm not talking a little bit. I mean, he threw like A-class numbers the whole day, and they were like, why did you let him do that? You know,
But you don't know.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Like, and then the worst thing that can someone do is call you a sandbagger. I didn't even know what that meant for the longest time. And what sucks is like if you get called a sandbagger and you're an A's, I'm like, dog, like where do you go from there? Like I'm about to get my like I'm excited because I'm about to just get my ass whooped.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to get completely demolished for the next like 2 years, and like I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, I used to have a really bad head when I first started throwing because I'm so competitive and like everything is about winning. You know, I want to win. That was my thing, and it's like I would go and for years I would just be in the middle of the pack. Like I never podiumed ever in 8 years of throwing. I never podiumed, and then when I cut the weight and I went to lightweight. And I just kicked the shit out of everybody. And I'm like, oh, this is what I should have been doing the whole time.
Yeah.
And like everybody's like, oh, you're too good to be doing that now. And I'm like, I'm a master's lightweight, and and you're a lightweight. Like you should be better. You're 10 years younger than me. You're bigger than me. You should be beating me.
Yeah,
I got 10 years experience though, so it's it does make it
no, it's a
technique thing.
So like I always, and this is what I just started saying this. I was like, it's 40% technique, 30% strength, 15% injuries because we're all fucked up, and 15% mental. Because if you can be the best thrower ever, but if one dude gets in your head, it's the worst thing. It's like, I mean, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno. Like Lou Ferrigno was bigger, stronger, younger. Just like I thought he would win.
Yeah, but Arnold could run his mouth like no other.
Mouth and just like and that's the thing is like I started getting into this mentality where when I throw, I'm just in my backyard. I am just in my backyard. I'm chilling. I'm just listening to music. I'm playing Mamma Mia in the back of my head for sometimes. Like I don't like I'm just playing. This is just me and my buddies throwing and having a good time.
Yeah.
And I throw further. Yeah. Like I throw so much farther that way versus like there's some people that they really do get into it. And I say like, hey man, like this is literally like that makes you throw way worse,
right?
Because then you're like overcompensating.
Yeah.
If you overcompensate a throw, then you're fouling.
Yep.
Or you're throwing like, your lightweight's just not, hitting where it needs to hit. And I rarely talk about like I literally like to I don't want to know where I'm at.
Right.
Because I know I'm gonna be in the middle no matter what. So as long as like if you're telling me like, oh dude, if you make this win, then you get the first place, I'm like, I don't want to fucking know that, dude.
Yeah.
I just want to like enjoy and have a good time, you know.
I was one of those where I'd get mad. I'd get halfway through and I would just be throwing like shit, and these guys are doing so good and they're so happy because they're winning and this and that, and I would just be like, fuck this sport. I'm done with this shit. I'm out of here. I don't want to do this no more.
and the thing is like, if you really like to do this, then like that happiness is just, it's not even because you're winning. Like, yeah, I mean, it helps a little bit to win, but it's just because like, oh dude, I'm beating myself.
Zach says calling somebody a sandbagger that at the A level means that you'll never throw again pro level throwers.
What? Throw with them again.
Yeah,
I can't even read that far.
Yeah.
Damn, Zach.
So if they're calling you a sandbagger, that means that you're gonna have to go pro and you're not gonna be able to throw with them no more.
I was like, how? I just started this sport. Why am I a sandbagger?
Yeah, that game up in Decatur we had some guy show up in a pair of Chucks. He's this total surfer kid. He was like 6'4". He was built. He wasn't big, but he was built. And he was, yeah, man, the whole Keanu Reeves, kind of, all right, dude, and he went and bought like $150 kilt because that was the only stand that was there and this and that.
So they get you.
Yeah, he comes out and he just crushes stones, comes out and just crushes wob. I'm just like, oh man, like this guy's gonna crush us, and he's just a nobody until it got to technique. He couldn't throw the lightweight for shit. Sheaf couldn't get it off the fork. Hammers just like 30 feet because it just didn't make sense. Yeah. And it's like. And he had like one of those talks, like when he won stones, he's like, "Oh yeah, this is my games." I'm like, "All right, dude."
That's the problem. There's 9 events. You're like, bound to be sucky at one of them.
Couldn't pick the caber at all, and I'm like, "Yeah, dude. Like, you can talk all you want, and you can be strong. Don't get me wrong. There's some guys out there that can just throw because they're strong. Yeah, but man, everything is gonna be based around that technique, somewhat. Yeah,
it's a larger. It's like a way bigger percentage than, not way, but like definitely a larger percentage than strength. Because like there's also a point where like you have the perfect technique, but you just don't have that explosiveness.
Right.
Like sometimes people are just naturally explosive, and I think For me, I got that just from wrestling. Like if you wrestled, you're just naturally ready to just
And I
explode.
always wanted to wrestle. We never had wrestling. Not in my
So
middle school,
fun.
not in my high school.
It's the best sport.
Yeah.
It is like I miss wrestling like crazy. But now I'm just like, okay, if I wrestle, I'm probably gonna hurt myself. I can't do
Yeah.
Highland Games.
He's too old for it now.
Yeah, 28. Almost.
Not even,
I'm
not
almost 30. so-
Almost 30. Almost
Yeah.
30. 28. I started this sport when I was 30.
Oh yeah.
I had a stroke after my first
Jesus.
season. And I took a whole season off and came back.
Wow.
And it was minor stroke. They call it whatever they call it,
A minor stroke.
a catalytic, something. It's real small, whatever it was, but it fucked me up pretty bad. I didn't even know I had it.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of stress in my life, and my truck broke down, and work wasn't working out. I wasn't
Yeah.
making any money. I was just having a bad day, and I was coming home, and I called my ex-wife, and I was like, "Hey, something's wrong. I have to go to the emergency room."
Yeah.
I came home. I was like, "Look, I need to lay down for a few minutes. I'm just not feeling good." I ended up losing 2 days of my life. Went to sleep on Thursday, woke up on Saturday.
Jesus Christ.
Went to the doctor, and they're like, "Oh, you've had a minor stroke." And I'm like, "Oh,
Wow.
yeah, that makes a lot." And that's when I like cut all the weight and got away from all the shit, because I was heavy.
Yeah.
I was trying to do something in the sport.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it saved my life, and it fucked
No,
up my
that's
life.
crazy. That's amazing. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah.
What what made you get into the sport?
My dad, my mom had a marketing firm when I was growing up, and
Yeah.
we used to always work the Irish Festival. Well, the Irish Festival's in April, and it's like the last weekend in April, and then the San Antonio Highland Games is always the first weekend in March. So they would promote the shit out of it down at the Irish Festival every
Yeah.
year. And I would always tell my dad, "Come on, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. Like, you got to," and he would never do it.
Yeah.
"Oh, no, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. And then, eventually, "Oh, my knees are too old. I'm too old. My knees are too bad." Just never got around to it.
Yeah.
And I saw them promoting it one year, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. I'm just gonna go, and I'm gonna try it out. And I made some little fake implements at home with some weights, and just tried to do something to kind of just get an idea. There wasn't really much on YouTube or anything. There wasn't
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. This is 10 years ago.
It's still
so
not that much.
Yeah,
Dude. There's
yeah.
still not
yeah,
a lot.
I know. When I look on YouTube and I just type in Highland Games, I see 5 years ago, 8 years ago, pro class, 9 years ago, and I'm like, really? Like, the games that I posted on YouTube are like some of the most recent stuff, and they're actually whole games.
Yeah.
That's when I was just recording my class.
I really need to get into the YouTube vibe. I suck at I really do suck at doing the posting stuff.
Let's see. Remains one of the funniest and nicest people in the whole sport. Let's see. I said people that say that haven't ever thrown against pro throwers. Oh, that's what he was saying. He's saying if they call you a sandbagger, then they've never thrown against pro class.
Oh, okay, that makes way more sense.
Yeah, and I've seen pros. Spencer Tyler came out and threw the lightweight a couple times at Austin a bunch of years ago, probably my second season, and I had never really I've never seen pro class up close like that in person. And he threw that thing, 80 something feet out there.
Yeah.
I mean, he threw that thing so far, the camera lady that was recording him on the other side of the field had to dive out of the way to avoid this
yeah.
thing. And I was like,
Pretty sure the dude can
Oh,
still throw like
shit.
a 95.
oh, got to.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he was I think in his mid 40s or something like that.
No, he's 40 this year.
He's 40.
Yeah.
Okay. So
He's my age.
Not mid 40s.
Yeah, or he's about to turn 40. He's real close. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just like, holy crap, and then seeing like Kyle Lilly just throw, I was like,
Yeah.
damn, whenever I'm like, oh, that's a good almost 75, I'm like, okay, there's a 95
Yeah.
right there.
Well, he threw 97.
Yeah.
He was the second man to ever do that, which I was like, oh shit.
That's
And
crazy.
then just a few weeks earlier than that, he lost to John Van Buren,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Well, it was back-to-back weeks.
yeah.
It was
And I was
literally-
like,
yeah.
I didn't realize that John had got that good. I was like, oh shit, where'd you come from? Like,
Oh, dude, yeah. Well, I like watching John's stuff because he does a one turn.
Yeah.
And I think that's I don't understand how he throws an 89 or whatever 90 something.
yeah,
With a one turn, but
super
to me
impressive.
that's crazy impressive.
Well, I had never seen anybody throw the hammer as far as Jesse. That was the first time I'd ever seen anybody throw the hammer. He threw 122, and I
Yeah.
was like, and that was at Kerrville
Yeah.
3-4 years ago, something like that. And I was like, he just threw that 122 feet. I was like, when did that happen? Like, when did this become a thing where just Texas just got really good all of a
Oh
sudden?
yeah, I mean, I think I finally broke my PR of light hammers with like, he threw a heavy or a light one?
Light one.
Okay.
122.
I was about to be like, damn, that's because that's what the pros were throwing. They're throwing
Yeah.
like 110, 120. But like I mean, I threw a 118 with a one turn because I don't know how to spin. I just chuck it. And I don't know hammer numbers. Like I have
Right.
no idea, but now I'm like, all right, so 120 is okay.
120 is okay. Yeah.
120 is okay. And then Nick Ashton's like throwing like a 140 something because he can just move his body 1,000 miles an hour, which
Is
I think
the
is awesome.
pro class weight heavier? Is it the same weight?
Same
16?
weight.
16,
Same weight,
22?
16 and 22. The only thing that's heavier is the cabers. Like,
Oh.
yeah, that means a 20-pound sheaf, but like
Yeah.
A should be doing that.
Yeah.
But 16 is a cool sight. to
San
do.
Antonio was the only games I ever threw that had a 20-pound sheaf.
Yeah.
And they made everybody C class and masters throw it. Masters and C class through 16.
But a lot of people were like, fuck this.
Yeah, I had that 20-pound. I was like, I'm not doing that. Ed was like, yeah, you are. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'll skip out on sheaf. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, dude, I'm not built for that, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not strong enough to do that. Like, I don't want to be PRing a 20-foot sheaf at 14 feet. Come on,
Yeah.
man. Give me a break here. We're B class guys.
Yeah, no, I feel like 20-pound. I mean, I only got like 20. I mean, I got 27 in Estes, which I was kind of bummed at because
Yeah.
I've hit 33 with a 20.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell am I doing wrong? And you know what I did wrong? I've been throwing an 8-pound sheaf for fucking
Oh,
2
yeah.
months.
You're like, this is way different.
This is way different. I also don't have my fork because I use a 2-tine fork. I have to like use other people's forks to kind of get, and I use like 4 or 5 different people's forks to be like, okay, which one can I do the best with? And
Yeah.
Eric Frazier got 36.
Oh,
and that's
wow.
what I wanted to get that day, but
Right.
like I know I have it in my I have it in the gas. I just didn't have it that day.
Yeah.
So it happens.
Well, dude, you're not even 30. You can't be out of gas.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, I have the gas. I just like something happened, dude. I think it was like my technique just was off. I forgot that I have to adjust my technique for 20 because like
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. This is stupid, but 16s I have to hold it closer, and 20s I have to hold it further, or it's reversed. I never remember which one it is, so I like try it out and then I forget which one I did, and I just end up just forgetting.
Just
So,
bombing it, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
what it is.
I went from not being able to get off the fork to getting 20 feet within 3 months.
Yeah.
From my first games to my second games. And then it was always like 22, 24, 26, 24, like all in that range. And it's like, okay, tired of this. I'm ready to get to 30. Like, let's like buckle down and do it. And then I got 30 and I was like, you know what? Let's just go up to 32.
Yeah.
So I went up and I hit, of course I didn't get it. And I was like, all right, let's just go back down to 31. So I got 31 and it came over and I was like, right. I was like this much over the bar and it just like perfect. I didn't touch the bar or nothing. I was like, oh, I can actually do that,
Yeah.
And then
there.
I cut all the weight and I got down because I was throwing like 225. Now I get down to 200 and I'm like struggling with 26. I'm like, okay, now I have to get my technique down because I just can't keep doing it because I don't have the body weight to really push it the way I want to anymore. So
Yeah, no, body weight does definitely helps. You can see it too with with the throw proers, like watching like Kyle Lilly throw and then watching Nick Ashton throw the heavyweights. Like Nick Ashton is probably like he has like one of the best techniques ever because he's using his entire body to throw this weight.
Right.
And then you see like people who are a little bit heavier, like they don't have to use all of their body weight. But if you can figure out both, then you're just a badass. Like it's just like it's insane.
yeah. Sorry.
No big man.
All right. So what's your next games?
Oregon, and I should probably know the name of it. I think it's like Mac Irish. I'll double check. I just started it, or I'm going to it, and then I'm going to Stone Mountain,
Okay.
and then Austin, and then probably Salado. Probably have 4.
Austin will be our first live broadcast games.
Hell yes.
It's going to be pretty awesome. Jack and Michaela, I can't thank them enough.
Oh, they're amazing people.
Yeah, amazing. I've known Jack forever. He was an ambassador for Viking Throwers Club for a long time. We've worked together. I'm really happy that Austin's going to be our first game. Not only because we're just close to home, but Austin is like it's become a great games.
Oh, it's been amazing games.
After Michaela took over and she really started changing stuff in the way that her and Jack wanted to do things, it was like, oh, okay, like this is legit going to be like a games to go to. So we're going to come back from Masters World Championship. We're going to start buckling down. Me and my wife were actually going to be putting on a games.
Yeah.
Don't have a whole lot of details, but it's going to be in Canyon Lake, Texas. So look for that.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty exciting. But we will be in Austin. That will probably Masters World Championship is probably going to be my last serious competition game. I'm stepping away from the sport competitively, but I'll maybe be, stepping in here and there. But for the most part, my career's, to its end. So this is why all this is going on. This is how we're going to start trying to move stuff into the right direction and turn the sport into something, man. I'm really excited. So
yeah, no, that's amazing. I mean, it's that like pushing it outside of just you being an athlete. Like that's like the bang. That's how the sport keeps going.
I always figured when you retire from a sport, that's what you do, become an analyst. And so that's basically what I want to do. So
the festival is called Max Scottish Festival in Oregon. So I had to pull it up.
Okay. Hey, well, share it with me and I'll give them a little shout out.
Hell yeah.
Also, if y'all don't know, we have a live calendar. Anybody can join. You just hit me up. I send you the link, and y'all can post games. ADs can post games.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And this is any games. This calendar is open to everybody, so you can see any games that's going on across America. Because there is no one system that is for everybody.
And that's another. I mean, that's not open up a whole bag of cans. I don't understand why can't we all just be on the same page with the games, because all it does is hurt the sports, hurts the athletes who don't have sponsorships. Like, I mean, everybody wants to have their own organization, and then they don't want to help other organizations do one thing, and it's it's so confusing. I don't understand it, but it's that's I think in every single sport. But the amount of how big we are, we're tiny in comparison to some sports.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
So why the fuck do we have 15 different organizations?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not trying to step on any other organization's toes or anything like that. I'm just trying to expand the sport itself.
Yeah. But sometimes that is considered stepping on toes, and I'm how, dog?
And you know what? And if somebody wants to take it like that, you just have to take it like that. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I love this sport. I've loved the sport since I got into it. I'm always going to love this sport. I'm never going to step away from what I'm doing, and I'm not going to stop doing this. Yeah. My goal is to bring this place like this. Yeah. I mean, you have the NFL and the MLB and the NBA and the WNBA, and you have soccer and what is soccer? MLS, whatever.
MLS.
MSL.
There's a lot of M's.
Okay, whatever it is. The NCAA. You have all those, and it's one thing that broadcasts all of that. That is their thing. That's what we want to do.
Yeah, no.
I don't care what games you're at. I don't care what state you're in. I don't care what it is. If you have a games and you want to promote it, let me help you. Easy as that.
Yeah, no.
I'm not trying to make money off you. I'm not trying to do this. Don't get me wrong. I want to make money doing this, but I also don't want to hurt the sport by doing it and don't get that in the way.
Yeah.
My stuff is through advertising and stuff like that. Everything else that comes with it is just I do it out of my own dollar. I'm going to Austin
and that's
games.
Most ADs too. They're literally keeping the sport alive off of their own bank accounts.
Exactly.
Or whatever sponsorships will give them any sponsorships.
And I want to bring that sponsorship to these.
Yeah.
I want it to be 2 full days of games, full classes all the way around. Dude, how awesome is that?
Yeah.
To be able to be we have.
I want us at the Rogue Invitational.
Yeah.
That's something that is possible.
Exactly.
But it would be way more possible if everybody was on the same page.
Yep.
The Rogue Invitational. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I haven't been, but I've always wanted to.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's strongman and CrossFit.
Yeah.
And that's basically I'm not to it's basically kind of like the Highland Games where we are strength athletes who are also agility athletes because it's again, just watch a pro throw. It is a whole nother ballpark of what most people think. It's like watching an Olympic discus thrower.
I mean, CrossFit is an all-day event, just the same way the Highland Games are. So why wouldn't you put Highland Games? That place is more than big enough to do that.
That's why we need Steve Laser again. He's very handsome.
Yeah, exactly. Just put him on the poster and we're set.
Get him out of the retirement because I mean, I've thought about doing like Highland Game calendars, but it's just like, how are you gonna do that?
Oh yeah, it is MLS. Yeah, Major League Soccer. That's what it is.
Major League. I was confusing it with like the F something. FB F. No, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
So, but I mean, it's important for us to do. If we're gonna make this happen, we're really gonna make the sport be something that it should be. Everybody's got to get on board.
Yeah.
Easy as that.
We're all on the same. I mean, we're all going the same way.
Yeah.
We might go different routes, but
Right.
as long as we got the same like direction, like,
Yeah.
it's not a big issue.
Yeah, we're gonna stay doing the exact same stuff that we're doing right now. That that it's just gonna stay, the same, 5,000 athletes across America doing the same games, the same, pros. They'll be doing it for 5-8 years. They'll retire. Those A-class guys will pick up. They'll go. I don't like seeing like guys like you who are about to go pro, who don't have a whole lot to look for other than a trophy.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you should be getting paid. You're a professional athlete and you're not getting paid. Like, I don't see how that is. Like, give guys who want to come into the sport and say, you know what? I'm a B-class guy who's going to go to A's, and eventually I want to be a pro, and say, man, I'm going to work hard because I'm going to get paid sponsorship. That is, like, huge. Every other sport does that. So why wouldn't we?
Yeah. So, I mean, and like, from what I understand is like, they at least like, you get help with the flight and the stay and stuff.
Right.
So basically just, and you kind of hear it from interviews with like Matt Vincent and like other pros, like you don't make a living off of it.
No.
But you at least pay for your hobby.
Right.
Which to me, totally cool with that.
Well, yeah.
I'm totally cool. But then there's also like other avenues that you can look at, like getting sponsorships from other companies.
Yeah.
Which is where being a pro helps a lot.
Yeah.
Or like thank you for basically allowing me to, have my own game. So I have experience. I'm thinking basically FitCon. Because now I know how to outreach these guys.
Right.
I've been in the industry. Like, I mean, I'm a salesman by trade. So that helps a lot too. But I mean, being able to make some, like, I mean, we're not even talking about like, I want to make $50,000. Like, dude, if you make 10 grand throwing games, that's pretty cool. That'd be super awesome.
Let's see. Kilted Texan. The Scottish Games are second oldest organized sport in the world. It deserves so much bigger platform than what it has.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can.
I mean, we started the Olympics, dude. I mean, you look back at like how the Olympics was started, and they saw the Scottish Games, and they brought it to France, and they're like, okay, well, let's bring back the Greek Olympics.
Right.
Because like a bunch of dudes were just, throwing rocks like they do like now with a bunch of homies, and it's like, oh, I can throw this further. Like, oh, that's track and field.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if it's, the culture behind it. I don't know if it's like people don't want to wear kilts. I really don't know like what the issue is, because you have to wear a tracksuit when you run in track. You have to wear something. You have like, I had to wear a singlet for.
You have to wear a uniform when you go to work. It's the same thing.
But I don't know. I don't know if it's just like they don't like the tartans, or like they don't feel comfortable like showing like their flag instead of a tartan, which is completely fine too. If you're not Scottish, then totally that's fine. But I guess it comes with the Scottish Games.
I mean, realistically, if you really wanted to turn this thing around, you just have the HGL.
Yeah.
The Highland Games League.
Yeah.
And you would just get pro guys, and they would be, you would be your individual athlete, and it would be a league.
Well, at least like pro guys and pro women, like that's the main thing. But if we don't even have funds for pro guys, it's like a whole thing. But it's like there's a much larger. I mean, I'm gonna like one of the she's not a pro, but she has like the largest social media presence. I was like, and she did Highland Games. She has like 154,000 followers. Like, there's obviously people like obviously she does other things, but it's like there's people watching this no matter what.
I think the main thing is just not enough media out there to tell people what.
That's why you got to break Guinness World Records.
It get back to like what we were talking about on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, you look on YouTube, like when I tell people I do the Highland Games, they're like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm a Highland Games athlete. And they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, I'm a world-class athlete. Like, I'm competing for a world title. And they're like, what? They're like, what do you do?
You're better than me, man. I say I throw rocks, and I just look in their face.
But I tell them, I'm like, we throw stones and flip trees, and we wear kilts, and we drink beer on the field. And they're like, Oh, I saw that one time.
Yeah.
One time? Like, no, like, everybody should be like, oh, I know what the fuck the Highland Games are. Like,
Yeah.
that's where I want it to be. Like, realistically, that's where I want it to
Yeah.
be.
That's fair. I mean, you go to Scotland, they obviously know what the hell
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because they pay their athletes really well.
Right.
I mean, I've heard, like, you can go to Scotland and at least, like, pay for your trip,
Yeah.
maybe, if you are good enough, you know? And that's, like, a dream of mine. I would love to do that next year.
Yeah.
But again, like,
My uncle was actually in Scotland, and they were throwing there. Kyle Lilly was there with somebody else.
yeah.
And he just, like, went up and talked to him, didn't know who the hell they were.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, you're American. So he's like, oh, yeah, this and that. And I was like, oh, that's so funny that you said my uncle, like, called me. He's like, do you know some guy named Kyle? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, he's in Scotland. He's throwing the Highland Games. Well, he was talking to some of the other athletes in Scotland. They're like, oh, we don't like throwing with Americans. They're too good. They're all
No,
good.
I
And I
mean-
was like, oh, shit. Like, yeah, we embarrass y'all over there?
No, and like I'm like curious about that too, because it's like, you know, how like, I think it was like a Netflix interview where Vlad, I forget his last name, but he's a thrower over in Europe, I think, again, like somewhere not in the US, my bad, I suck at geography, but he actually won the Braemar Gathering, and they didn't interview him for the documentary.
Wow.
And that was interesting, and you can kind of go on Instagram and see, like, hey, like, didn't I see you in the Braemar Gathering? I was like, yeah, they didn't film me because I won, but they filmed the guys who were originally from Scotland, and I kind of understand that, but like, how, like, who else has won, like, in the Braemar Gathering? Like, what was it, like, I don't know if Matt Vincent has won it, but I'm pretty sure, like, Dan McKim has.
Yeah.
Um,
Mr. Little Debbie.
yeah, Mr. Little Debbie Cakes. Like, that dude is like, how does that feel? Like, it is called the Scottish Highland Games, but then you're having people from the U.S. coming into it. But then it's also like, I mean, dude, like, I mean, what else are the Americans, like, really good at the Olympics? A lot of things. Like,
Yeah.
you don't see other people getting pissed off
Yeah.
about that, you know?
I mean, it's not like Europe tries to compete with us in football. You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, no. But it's like, we don't even get mad about it. It's like, yeah, that's fair. That's
They're
fair.
like, oh, we play soccer, you play, or we play rugby and you play football. You
Like,
know.
but it's like, you know, and if somebody from Scotland came to one of our games and completely kicked our ass, we'd be like, oh, okay, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, you know, that's cool. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about how that's going to be. And I don't know if I can wear my pink kilt, because I think they're more traditional about it.
Yeah.
So I have to, like, I actually don't know what, I would have to wear the McClellan kilt, which
Yeah.
I do not own.
Yeah. I still wear a traditional kilt. I've never bought a sports kilt. I still wear a traditional with leather straps and buckles and
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards.
Shout out to Sports Kilt. They're great.
Dude, they're freaking great. Hey,
Yeah.
sports kilts, if y'all are listening, y'all can sponsor the show anytime. I will
Yeah.
wear a sports kilt. I'm not saying I won't. I just say I don't.
They're so lightweight. You don't sweat in them. The Velcro's amazing. Like, you know, I my first kilt was like $20.
My wife says, yeah, I like how y'all call beer whiskey. Whiskey beer. We said, well, yeah, we sit around and drink beer all day on the field.
It's made of bread.
Same thing. It's yeast.
It's made of bread. But no, yeah, like Scotland will be huge, and I'm extremely excited to maybe be able to go next year.
I remember when y'all first started, you and Chase, and you're like, we're going to get good. We're going to go to Scotland. We're going to go kick ass. And I was like, cool. You know, like, all right. And I saw how good y'all were. And I was like, oh, shit, they're going to be really good. They are going to go to Scotland.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it does happen.
You know, and like that, like us training together, like that helped a lot too. But
Right.
also, like, I started realizing that overtraining is a thing, dude. You can't do, like, I mean, Vinny is my coach, and he's amazing. He helps me a lot with, like, recovery. It's like, if you're throwing 3 times a week, you shouldn't be working out and throwing the same days.
Right.
So at that point, I'm like, am I working out 6 days a week?
Yeah.
Why am I still fat? But that's a whole other conversation. It's like, I don't know. You find that balance, and then, like, you know, I've definitely hurt myself more from overtraining
Right.
than just not training, because, like, I haven't been to the gym in like a week because all these comps. Like, I cannot go to the gym. I'm not going to the gym because, like I'm about to destroy my body and put my, you know, central nervous system on haywire again. So I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna, like, jump. I'm gonna do push-ups, like, whatever. Like, that's my workout.
Yeah. Yeah, I put 20,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
You know, just with my job. I work in a warehouse, so it's like I'm on my feet all day long, you know, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
But I had 2 real bad teeth that I needed to get extracted, and I knew I needed to get them done, and they were starting to cause me problems. But the funny thing is all this, like, the last, like, 2-3 years, I haven't been able to smell or taste cheese.
That sucks.
So weird as that is. Well, I finally got those teeth pulled out, and I was trying to plan it where it was going to be right before Masters World Championship because it'd be a perfect time for me to cut. Because I don't like cutting aggressively, especially going into a major comp. I want to take my time with it. I want to take, a couple months, and work's been so crazy. I haven't really cut, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to cut kind of aggressive because I was up at 214. And then I get down, I'm like, oh shit, I got 3 weeks. I got to cut, and I weighed myself this morning and I'm down to 210. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Cause I can cut 10 pounds in a week, just water weight. But just in the last year, I've put on so much mass because I lift like crazy. I live in the gym, and so it's not, I don't have a bunch of body fat where I can be like, oh, I can just kill that in a week and be done. It's it's a whole nother process to cutting it now. So I'm having to take this a little bit more serious. But having this surgery and doing all that, I could be on a liquid diet or soft food, stuff like that. So I cut a bunch of shit out of my diet right from there. So it was kind of like my game plan that worked and kind of didn't work.
Hell yeah!
So, all right, man. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up.
This is fun. I like it.
Yeah,
it's dope.
Yeah. You like our studio?
I'm loving it.
Thank Terry Lively Inc.
Thank you so much, Lively Inc.
This place is awesome. This is perfect for us. Thank the wifey for getting us hooked up. We wouldn't have done it without either one of you.
Thank you, wifey.
We do have some more podcasts coming soon. Everything's going to be kind of put on hold because we've got Masters World Championship coming up. So my main focus is going to be that. But we do still are keeping weekly live news every week. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., Ted. Come on, Mr. Sheaf Daddy. He's going to be on us next week. No, tomorrow. Next week, we have 2 guests, Emily Adams and Kyle Lilly.
Oh, yeah, Kyle.
Yeah.
You guys gonna switch off on podcasts?
Yeah, we're just gonna switch off. I'm gonna have him. So that will be on Weekly Live News. We're gonna chat with them. They both just did pretty big accomplishments. She just broke the Sheaf world record.
I was there, dude.
I know you were. And then Kyle Lilly just hit that big number. So that's big. So I want to talk to both of them. So next Sunday we'll have both of them. And then after that, we're going to be on that road to Masters World Championship, and we're going to be recording a lot of that. So y'all need to stay tuned, and we're going to get down with that.
Hell yeah.
Well, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Had a great time. You do it to me every time. All right, guys. We'll see y'all next time. We're going to get out of here. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow, 2 p.m. with Ted, Weekly Live News. Next week, Emily Adams and Kyle Lilly. We're going to talk to them about the big accomplishments they've been knocking out. All right. We'll see y'all later.